If you've ever practiced yoga or learned about Eastern spirituality, or even if you're only familiar with a few pop culture references, you've probably heard about chakras before. And at least you'll know that chakras are energy centers connected with certain parts of the body and the subtle energy moving through it. This book is an introduction to a subject of exceeding complexity. It is neither an exhaustive account of the chakras nor by any means the only account of the chakras, although they might be known by other names, chakra-like systems, maps of the subtle body, are found in many cultures and spiritual traditions, from Indian Hinduism and Buddhist Vajrayana, to Chinese Taoism, Western esotericism, and even the Kabbalah. But in this book, we'll be focusing on the Hindu system of 7 chakras. It's not the only chakra system, and it's not even the only Hindu chakra system. Any number of chakras have been described, 5, 6, 7, 20, even more. So to say the picture is complicated is an understatement. There is even debate about whether the various chakra systems were meant to be descriptions of an actual subtle body with actual energy centers akin to physical organs, or if they were merely intended as guides to visualizations for different kinds of meditation. Still, in this book we will treat the chakras as if they are actual components of a subtle body, even as we leave the overarching question of their existential status, physical, psychical, imaginal, fictitious, unanswered. This agnostic approach means that you don't actually have to believe in the literal reality of chakras to get something out of this book and start working with the chakra system. If you're interested in chakras in the first place, you're probably doing some kind of spiritual practice, such as yoga. But to get started with chakras, you don't have to buy into any particular religious point of view. You don't even have to believe that chakras exist. All you need are an openness to experimentation and the ability to use your imagination. The general ideas of any chakra system is this: your body contains a number of energy channels, or nadis, some of them major and some minor. Different kinds of subtle energy, vayu or wind, move through these channels, which affects both your body and mind. The points where the channels intersect in the body are called chakras, literally wheels. There are many chakras in the body, but the most well-known system outlines 7 major ones. This subtle energy system is subject to imbalances which can cause physical, emotional, and spiritual disturbances, both large and small. In particular, the chakras are vulnerable to blockages as well as over-excitation, so they need to be balanced. When all 7 chakras are opened, the free flow of energy through them brings about spiritual awakening. The idea of a subtle energy system in the body dates back to the Upanishads of the 7th or 8th century BC, but the chakra system only really began to take its familiar form later, in the Tantric period. There are many misconceptions about Tantra in the West, chief among them the idea that it's all about sex. But Tantra is less about better sex or a better orgasm than it is about working with one's embodied experiences instead of trying to transcend the body, using the senses as a mean of spiritual awakening rather than trying to block the senses. It involves a huge literature and an enormous body of meditative and yogic techniques, of which only a fraction involve sexuality. Chief among the ideas in Tantra is that the universe is the manifestation of the ultimate divine reality. What that means in terms of the chakras is that your own body is a microcosm of the larger universe, and the divine energy that manifests the universe is also at work in the individual practitioner's body. Working with the chakras can be tremendously liberating, but this approach is not without its dangers. Among other things, it can have unintended effects for your psychological well-being. That's why practices involving the subtle body are traditionally done with the close guidance of a qualified spiritual teacher who can correct any mistakes a student makes, see the blind spots of their ego, and help them steer safely clear of common pitfalls as well as resolve any problems that might come up. So if you find yourself wanting to get into the chakras more deeply as a result of reading this book, I strongly urge you to find a teacher who can guide you in your practice. Chapter 1: The Subtle Body. If you've put in a significant amount of time on the meditation cushion, you've probably noticed that different emotions register in different places in the body. Falling in love, for example, can register as an expansive, light, warming sensation in the chest, and heartbreak is so called because of where we feel it, in our heart. Feeling suddenly removed to emotion might make us choked up, which we feel in our throat. A sudden disappointment or negative realization registers as a sinking feeling in our gut. In fact, what makes emotions distinct from thoughts is that we typically feel them as energetic events in the body. With a little introspection, we can easily see that our inner psychological life maps onto specific points in the body, the chakras.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.